Meeting will come to order. I'd like to welcome to the April the 20th meeting of the Caswell County Board of Commissioners. If you would, join me in a moment of silent prayer followed by a pledge of allegiance.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, justice for all. Public comments? All right, no public comments. Recognitions, I'll start with you, Commissioner Smith.
Yes, sir. I'd like to recognize the state of North Carolina tonight for the growth they've had in the state. Currently, and I didn't know this till it popped up, that they're the 9th largest state in the U.S. now, with approximately 11 million citizens. The third only to Texas and Florida in growth. The 30% lower electric cost than U.S. average, and the corporate tax rate is going to 0% by 2030. You know, Caswell has a declining population, but I think we as commissioners need to position our county into a position to where we can take advantage of the growth around us and be ready to prosper.
Mr. Totten?
No.
Mr. Holt? Commissioner Rose?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Ingram?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd just like to recognize last week was actually our telecommunications week. And I just want to thank all of them for being what I would call in law enforcement first line. And being in first line of defense, even when things are hectic and everything's going around, the telecommunicator is always the calming voice. So I just like to recognize all the telecommunicators everywhere.
Mr. Claggett?
No, I don't have it.
All right. Item 6, gentlemen, you'll see is our consent agenda, which consists of tonight's meeting agenda, the minutes from our meeting on the 6th of this month, and the 30th of March with the Board of Education, and also the tax refunds and reliefs that you have included there in your package. Any corrections or additions to those minutes? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Smith,
Second.
second from Commissioner Rose. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Board of Equalization and Review. Do I have a motion that we recess as the Board of Commissioners and convene as the Board of Equalization and Review?
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Claggett,
Second.
second from Commissioner Ingram. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Manager will now administer our oath. We have one Bible here. If anyone wants, put your left hand on the Bible. It's right here. So gentlemen, if you would stand, it might be a good idea for this. I believe everyone has a copy of the oath there in front of you.
Okay, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm
I do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States
that I will support
and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith.
and the
Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith.
And I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as a member of the Caswell County Board of Equalization and Review.
and
I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
as member of the Caswell County Board of Equalization and Review.
And that I will not allow my actions as a member of the Board of Equalization and Review to be influenced by personal or political friendships or obligations, so help me God.
and that
I will not allow my actions as a member of the Board of Equalization and Review
to be
influenced by personal
and political
friendships.
obligations, so
Help me God.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. At this time, I have no one that has presented anything to appeal to the Board of ENR.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bernard. Do I have a motion that we adjourn as Board of Equalization Review and reconvene as a Board of Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that move that the Board of Equalization and Review reconvene as the Board of Commissioners with the next meeting for the Board of Equalization and Review to convey on May the 18th.
Motion from Commissioner Rose,
Second.
second from Commissioner Smith. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. We now stand adjourned as Equalization and Review and sit as the Board of Commissioners. Thank you, Mr. Bernard.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Okay. Now, we have a motion. We have a public hearing on the Castle County Section 8 PHA Plan Proposal for fiscal year 26.
So moved.
Have a motion from Commissioner Rose,
Second, sir.
second from Commissioner Ingram. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, we now set in public hearing. Ms. Shoemaker.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Administration, and citizens of Castle County. Each year, the Housing Authority is required to hold a public hearing for the board's adoption of the annual Public Housing Authority Plan. The annual PHA Plan public notice was published on February 18th and has been made available to the public as of that date. This mandated document outlines the policies, operations, and strategies used to provide low-income housing and serves as a vital accountability tool for our HUD compliance. The missions of Castle County Section 8 housing is to promote adequate, affordable housing and economic opportunity with a living environment free from discrimination. Our staff remains committed to providing a professional and welcoming environment for our tenants. We've outlined in our PHA plan our goals that we intend to pursue this year. Furthermore, in alignment with the HUD's cost-saving measures, as stated, our department is committed to reducing operational cost. To do that, we ensure reasonable rent reasonableness to avoid overpayment, utilizing cost-effective payment standards within our budget, limiting rent increases during this period, and billing other agencies for income and portable families. Despite limited funding, our staff consistently goes beyond to serve the community. While we provide essential housing stability, we also ensure accountability by requiring all participants to follow program guidelines. This year, we are placing a renewed emphasis on ensuring both tenants and property owners maintain decent, safe, and sanitary housing, a fundamental HUD requirement. To that, our staff will also be implementing Inspire inspections beginning 2027. To do that, we will be required to do the use of video and photos to identify deficiencies during inspections, and that is for documentation purposes. Over this coming year, we will continue to do community outreach and assist those in need, engaging in property owners interested in Section 8 program. Community input is vital to our success, and your voice ensures that our policies continue to meet unique needs of Castle County. On behalf of Section 8 Department, I'd like to thank you all for your continued support.
Thank you, Ms. Shoemaker. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to close the public hearing, return as Board of Commissioners?
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ingram,
Second.
second from Commissioner Totten. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, now on to discussion items, website upgrade. Madam Manager.
Yes, I know a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Bowman brought before you that he had met with Miss Lane with Small Town Soul over updating the website for economic development. In the meantime, I have also had some conversation with Miss Lane to be sure that, I was understanding the proposal that she had sent that was in your packet to clarify, is this just for economic development or is it for the entire county website? So it is actually for all of our website and departments. And I even asked them, could we include the Co-Square update that we need as well there. And Ms. Lane said that is also, we could include that in the cost that she provided in the proposal. So I just kind of wanted to go over a few things that she shared with me and what I've the information received out of the proposal. And this is a full website redesign. It's not a small update. And like I said, it will cover all of our departments. It'll create a consistent look and feel across the entire site. It improves navigation and usability countywide. It will meet the ADA compliance. It's user-friendly design. It's mobile-friendly. It's SEO improvements, and it's a better organization. It's clearer department structure and services. And the public will see that it'll translate the feature into more of a real world outcome for them. It's easier to find like forms, contact information, services, quick links, just a cleaner and more modern look and a better experience for both tech savvy users as well as residents who struggle with technology. The internal benefits, staff can update content themselves. When we do that for like minor things, we would use IT to help with doing those updates. Reduces reliance on outside vendors for small updates. It includes training for staff and tracks usage through Google Analytics. And it's a cost breakdown that was provided. It's between $3,500 and $4,500, but this will include all of the county departments, the whole website. And there are options that are where we can do, like when we want to make upgrades or changes that are $150 an hour that she works on it, or do a retainer option fee that's between $200 and $500 a month. And I'm going to explain more of what that involves because I wanted more information of what that actually entailed. So to kind of wrap it up, this is a full website design. And like I said, I asked about Co-Square and she said we could include it along with the other departments. And she stated if a website is 4 or 5 years old, it is considered ancient, and ours is that old. And ours is not, like if you look at the picture that was provided in your packet, it looks nothing like that. That's very more modernized and more of what you see today on websites that was included in your packet. She stated also, I asked what comes with the retainer option. And I think we would choose the $250 option. And this will give us 3 hours a month that she can work on our website and assist making corrections that are lengthy. If we don't use the 3 hours that month, they will just roll over. So basically, we will not lose the hours. They'll just keep building up. And we are required to commit for 3 months if we choose to go with this option, and then we can cancel at any time. So that would give us, 9 hours, at $250 a month. And we would definitely use that in doing updates and stuff to the website, because if you're not making any updates to the website, we're not keeping it current. And I think that we should continue to utilize that the $250 a month so we can keep the website updated. This is key informational point, and it's also a marketing tool for the county for when people look us up. This is the first thing that they're seeing about the county when they pull the website up, and then how they're learning about us. So if we have to pay $150 an hour for corrections, and say, for example, you get 3 hours at the rate of $250, if you go with the retainer option, if you were doing it by the hour, those 3 hours will cost you $450 instead of the retainer fee of $250 for those 3 hours. So that's one way to look at the difference in what it would cost you if we did it by the hour versus doing it by the month, the retainer fee. So that's just, gives you an idea there of a choice that we can make. I have checked with the deputy finance director, and money is in the budget for FY26 to cover the cost of the $3,500 to $4,500. We do have that in the economic development budget. And in order for us to move on with the proposal, the board would need to approve the project proposal prepared by Small Town Soul for the amount of $3,500 to $4,500 website design. And if the board would like to utilize the retainer fee of $250 a month, we're not required, like even if we wanted to move forward, I know this is just a discussion item, but if we did at the next meeting, if you decided you wanted to hold off on that retainer fee and think about that more, that is something we can go back and add later. But I think initially getting started, that may be a good thing to go ahead and incorporate once we get it up and running, the new design. And the board would just need to authorize the interim county manager, which is me, to sign the proposal. But like I said, tonight, this is just a discussion item and to further break down what the proposal has in it. And Attorney Johnston, I don't know if you have anything extra after you reviews the proposal that you would like to add.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the contract as presented has pretty standard boilerplate language, and it doesn't look like it would burden the county or cause any major harm. It would just depend upon if you're acceptable to all the terms.
And she already is Miss Lane is her company is the one that already administers our website. And she also does the town and the TDA. And I know she does the city of Reedsville, and there's many others as well. But I know a lot of the ones here in Caswell, she does maintain the websites.
Questions, comments?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
is the county currently paying a website maintenance fee? And if so, what's provided?
Melissa, do you know, or Keith, if we are paying a website fee? Please. Because that may be something we get, if it's a better rate from when we did it from previous years, this may be a better retainer fee. And I'm not sure at the time when they set this up, if they went with the lower end, which I think we could get away, get by with, or if they went for the higher end of $500.
Thank you.
Okay. Like I said, this is definitely a discussion item tonight, and we can go back and dig further into those details and bring that back at our next meeting for the board.
While Ms. Miller is looking that number up, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, Mr. Todd.
The image in the packet, is that kind of what it would look like?
Yes, it would have that more modernized feel to it. That's, I think, the city of Reedsville. And she did that website. So if you are wanting to kind of see what it looks like more, you can go on their website and you would have the complete feel for what that would look like for us. But I definitely think that we need to update our website.
Mr. Chairman, two things. Are there any grant opportunities you're aware of, such as Piedmont Electric or Duke Power, that would have monies for that?
I'm not aware. I mean, of course, we could always go out to them, but I'm not sure if right now if they have anything that's open or not. Something we would want to save that for as well. If we wanted to move on with the site, she did share with me that she does marketing as well. And I told her that would be a piece that later I would like to get a proposal from her, like to maybe look at the economic development and to look at Co-Square, because she said, in another county that she works with, that she does the marketing for their networking like Co-Square, and they are completely full. So I said, that's an option that, I don't know what that proposal right now would be. We just had a discussion, and she said that she could work something up, but it would be separate from this. And that could maybe be an option we could look at.
As you are aware, and anybody else that's used our site in the last couple of years, we run way behind as far as updating. Do you have staff that will be updating that on a
Well,
regular
that would
basis?
be the beauty of using these hours, these retainer hours, and especially I can get Miss Lane to see how many hours we currently have. And we may, once we use those hours, look at doing a retainer fee later, because we can do that at any time. So if we have hours that have built up, that's something that she said, and most other counties have her do, is the updates. Because like she said, when you work for local government, you're already wearing so many different hats. And a lot of times staff does not have time to keep all those updates. And even the IT department, they're down a person too. So I think that would be where these hours could really come into play. And we could submit the changes that need to be made, and they would be done in a timely manner.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Miller.
Looks like we paid for website hosting in 21, 22, and 23. And the only thing that we have paid for recently, which I'm not a tech person, but it's ADA compliance widget that we paid this year. So
How much was it?
hosting, we haven't paid since 23,
What was that ADA cost?
600.
You definitely want to keep your ADA language updated on those website. But I can check with her just to see if we have any outstanding hours that we have not utilized, because she shared that with me, and I can dig a little bit more into that ADA. I know this also addresses the ADA compliance as well, but I know that's always can be something that's changing, and you want to be sure that you are current with whatever the guidelines are now, for ADA.
Any other questions or comments? Bring it back to us at the next meeting, please, ma'am. Okay. Number 11, Parks and Rec Advisory Committee bylaws.
The Parks and Rec Committee bylaws, at the March 16th meeting, it was recommended to reestablish the Park and Rec Advisory Committee to support the department's efforts. Mr. Jefferson, Parks and Rec Director, provided input on the bylaws. You all received a copy of the bylaws in your packet. So I'm just going to kind of break down some of the key takeaways from the bylaws that have, that you have in your packet. This committee is advisory in nature and is intended to support and provide input on the park and recreation programs, not to make binding decisions. The board retains full appointment authority, ensuring oversight and accountability. The structure and representation, there would be 5 members plus 2 alternates, representation from each school district, 3-year terms with reappointment allowed, and this ensures countywide representation and continuity. Accountability measures that are in place. Members are going to be removed after 3 missed meetings without notice. Then an alternate will fill the vacancy, and there must be a quorum of at least 3 members. This will prevent inactivity and keep the committee functioning. The conflict of interest protection, members cannot serve on the Recreational Development Foundation and serve on the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee. This will avoid overlap in influence and protects the integrity of the decisions. Parks and Recreation Director will serve as an ex officio, a non-voting member, but this will ensure that staff coordination is provided without giving staff voting authority. And the meeting structure, they will start out like many new advisory committees, having monthly meetings, and then we'll probably go to quarterly meetings. And it is open to the public, and there will be a notice and agenda required. So this will support transparency and public engagement. The committee will recommend improvements, helps promote programs, assist with rules for sports programs, and any rules or recommendations that would still be subject to staff implementation and board authority as appropriate. There's no compensation, so members will not be paid. So there's no budget impact. So this set of bylaws establishes a Park and Recreational Advisory Committee that is approved by and accountable to the board, provides community input and program support, and operates with clear structure, transparency, and conflict of interest protection while remaining advisory in nature. So I will turn it over to Attorney Johnston to see if he's seen anything that he would recommend different.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Members of the board, Mr. Chairman, this is a well-drafted policy, and the only revision that I would recommend falls under Article 4, which discusses meetings. There's language in there involving special meetings that says that members will be notified by telephone 24 hours in advance. If the board does decide to move forward, I would just recommend striking that language with all special meetings shall be held pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 153A-40, which requires 48 hours notice.
Questions, comments? Mr. Claggett?
Mr. Chair, shouldn't the Parks and Rec bylaws contain the recently added nepotism clause for county volunteers to be perfectly clear for members rather than keeping it hidden in a separate document?
I don't see why that couldn't be included. Nepotism.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Claggett, if the board wanted to include that language, I do believe that is acceptable.
I think it would be very apropos.
Yes, sir.
Russell, you said you recommend striking the special meetings notice with the 24 hours. And
Yes, sir.
refer it back to the general statutes, 48 hours.
Yes, sir. And that general statute is 153A-40.
Any other comments or questions? What's the pleasure of the board? You want to wait till next meeting? Do you want to adopt tonight with the revision concerning nepotism policy and the special meetings, or?
If you like, we can clean it up and bring it back at the
That
next
might be a
meeting.
good idea. Won't be any confusion that way.
Right.
All right. Item 12, social media policy.
You all received the social media policy in your packet, and I know we've been having some discussion about that at previous meetings, that we were in the process of trying to update our social media policy. This policy is about ensuring the county social media is consistent, professional, legally compliant, and protects the county from risk. Social media is now one of the primary ways residents receive information, so it's important we have clear standards in place. The county manager or designee has overall authority. Departments cannot create accounts without approval. This ensures all county messaging is coordinated and aligned. Public records laws are addressed. Social media content equals a public record. First Amendment, free speech. We cannot remove comments based on viewpoint. Documentation required. All removed content must be documented and retained. This policy ensures we are compliant with public record law and First Amendment requirements, which is critical from the liability standpoint. Key kind of points to take away from the platform is a limited public forum. It cannot delete comments just for criticism. Can remove though if there are threats, it's spam, illegal content, or confidential information. We cannot remove comments simply because they are negative, but we can remove content that violates clearly defined standards. Blocking is very limited and must be documented. Blocking is treated as a significant action and only used after repeated violations. County can disable comments when needed. The policy allows us to limit or disable comments when necessary while still providing alternative ways for the public to communicate. Who can post? Only authorized trained employees. They must understand public records, confidentiality, and legal requirements. This ensures accountability and reduces risk of inappropriate or inaccurate posts. Employees' personal use. Employees cannot represent personal opinions as county views, shared confidential information, or damage public trust. This protects the county's reputation. Emergency communication. Social media can be used to share information, but it is not a 911 system. So this ensures the public understands social media is informational, not for emergency responses. Of course, we like to try to post as much as we can on there so the public can know, but it is not, that is not necessarily what that platform is necessarily for. Accountability and enforcement. Violations can lead to loss of access, discipline, and termination. This isn't just guidance. We've got to have teeth to the policy if we're going to be able to hold employees accountable. This policy does require ongoing monitoring and documentation, which staff will manage as part of the implementation. We do not have a 24/7 response. No guarantee response time. We'll do our best to respond, but there's no guarantee of the time, it may take staff to be able to respond to some of the comments that may be left on the post. This policy provides a clear framework for how the county uses social media in a way that is consistent, transparent, and legally compliant, while also protecting the county from risk and ensuring appropriate oversight. So this will be, like I said, we're looking at our three main emphasis as being sure that we're looking at legal protection as far as the First Amendment and public records, centralized control, no unauthorized accounts, clear rules on comments, and moderation. And I will turn this over to Attorney Johnston for his input.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Again, that was a well thought out synopsis by Madam Manager, and this was a well drafted policy. And the most important part is the county's respect of our citizens' First Amendment right to free speech. There's no obligation that the county have social media accounts, but if we do, then we have to honor our citizens' First Amendment right. And even if there's criticism of the county on the accounts, that doesn't give the county any leeway to suppress that speech. Now, if the activity becomes a public safety threat or there's any illegal activity, then the county does have the right to suppress those certain viewpoints. But again, this is a well-drafted policy.
Questions, comments, Mr. Claggett?
Yes, does this policy pertain to all county departments and include contracted personnel?
What was that last part, Commissioner Claggett?
And include contracted personnel?
That would be my interpretation, Commissioner Claggett. But again, if the board wanted to further clarify that, we could certainly add language to support that.
It's like blocking on Facebook. That's all I have.
And we will, when we send this policy out, we will have all employees to sign it and return it back to HR. So we will have that on file as well. And if the board chooses, I'm kind of under the same impression as Attorney Johnston that if it's someone that consults with us, that, you know, this would apply to them as well. And we could have them sign the policy as well.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd just like to point out that we're using the county's Facebook account more now than we have ever.
We do.
I think it's a really good source of getting information out to the citizens as far as meetings, recognitions, events, and so forth. So I think it's a great thing we're doing. I'd like to see it presented.
Any other questions, comments? Russell or Madam Manager, if y'all could add that language Mr. Claggett brought up about the contractors, make sure it's spelled out in, you know, so there won't be any question as to, you know, contractors will have to abide by the same policies the county employees will, turning to social media.
Yes, sir.
And bring that one back to us at the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Duke Energy Grant.
You received in your packet where Duke Energy has a grant that's called Duke Energy Storm Grant Announcement. There's no matching funds for this grant, and we are eligible to go after up to $25,000 for the county. So we are definitely looking to apply for this, and this grant is due on April the 30th. So I'm just going to give you just a little bit of information more about what we are thinking about doing with this grant. But this grant has came around for the last few years, and this year I had talked to Mr. Everett. I was like, we've got to go after this grant. We've, you know, it's came through year after year, and we haven't captured it, and we definitely could use it to help us with being emergency storm prepared for when we have anything happen here in the county. So we are looking to, this is like a good opportunity for us to build on our storm readiness by investing in practical training and needs, response kits, stronger communication and outreach and education. It will also help us make sure our shelter, trailers, equipment, and disposable supplies are stocked, organized, and ready to go when needed. As part of this, we plan to hold a one-time focus training for county staff, partner agencies involved in disaster response, and other key departments, including a tabletop and a hands-on full-scale exercise to improve coordination and how we work together during storm events. So we are looking for like an enclosed trailer for transport and storage, shelving and storage for organization, basic shelter supplies like linens, hygiene, a cooler, tables and chairs for setup, flashlights and extension cords, table exercises, and this will support the community during emergencies. We will be more reliable and ready to deploy resources. And this is a limited grant opportunity with specific eligible items focused on improving readiness and supporting training and education efforts. So we are asking that the board will give us permission to proceed on with applying for this grant. It's due on April the 30th. And like I said, there is no match for these funds.
Any questions? Comments? Do I have a motion that we approve, give staff authority to apply for this grant?
So moved.
Have a motion from Commissioner Rose,
Second.
second from Commissioner Smith. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Motion carries. All right. Action items, number 14, budget amendment number 19, John Yarber, EMS donation.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. In FY '24, EMS received a donation from a citizen in the amount of $5,000. In our current budget year, we also received another $5,000 donation from that same citizen. In looking, that money had never been moved from a revenue line item to an expense line item so it could be properly used. It was designated for employees. We're asking tonight that the board approve a budget amendment in the amount of $8,809.51 to be moved to a special events line item. That way that money is set aside and it's very transparent in how it's used, and no tax dollars are used to support EMS week festivities for employees. This amount is less the amount used in FY25 for the EMS night dinner that we had. That way that money is clear and set aside and no tax dollars are used for that. And I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Questions?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'm just curious. What's the total number of full-time county paramedics?
Paramedics, we currently have 12, I believe.
Thank you.
So this donation, you've had two $5,000 donations from the same individual. I'm hearing you right.
Yes, sir.
But you took out the expenses of last year's EMS week or whatever it was titled.
Yes, sir. We had an EMS banquet last year at the senior center, and we took out the expenses that were incurred with that from this amount.
Gotcha. Any other questions? Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion from Commissioner Smith,
Second.
second from Commissioner Totten. Any discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, Ms. Williamson, we're back to the Oakwood grant.
Yes, sir. I know you received this in your packet as well. We had a email from the Board of Education letting us know that we needed to have the chairman sign this agreement again because the correct amount that they provided us in the first copy that the Board of Education gave us, they did not have the full amount of the grant. So DPI reached out to Superintendent Stokes and told him that the full amount of the grant had to be on the agreement. So that is what's being brought before you tonight. There's no change except for the full amount of the agreement. I think before, I think it had like 18.8 million, but they wanted it specified. So it should be $18,805,850 is the exact amount of the agreement. So I provided a suggestion for a motion if the board would like to proceed, unless you have any other questions for myself or Attorney Johnston.
Any questions?
Mr. Chair. Does the former agreement FY 2025-26 need to be corrected regarding the title of the county contact person? It says interim town manager. I'm just thinking maybe legalities. I don't know.
Well, Commissioner Clay, that is a good question. The contact person does list Melissa Williamson, and it certainly the title should be interim county manager. So, maybe for full compliance, if the board wanted to make the motion to modify the title from interim town manager to interim county manager, I think that would be sufficient.
I'm just thinking about dotting the i's and crossing the t's.
Certainly.
I will respond back to the Board of Education because they are the ones that populated this information, and I did not notice that. So yeah, we can definitely ask for that to be corrected and not be town.
It's all about attention to detail.
So,
Mr. Johnson, you've read this, and I'm presuming.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Holt The only change I see from the last form of agreement is the actual monetary amount under grant funds awarded. All the other language that pertain to the general statutes were identical to what the board had discussed at the last meeting.
Okay, so it's zero match.
Correct. It's still the zero matches there.
Yes, sir. And you,
The contracts they enter into with the construction, we will not be liable for overruns.
that was the motion that the board made, or that was certainly a discussion point at the last meeting. That is my understanding, Commissioner Holt, because that was certainly a concern for myself and Madam County Manager. But again, in the motion tonight that the board makes, you could certainly add that language if you wanted, full compliance and full confidence.
They can make that in their motion. He was saying
That's
that-
correct.
that you would be able to make that in your motion. What Mr. Holt said, you can
That-
add it.
What, that the county would not be liable for any cost overrun. All right, the chair will accept a motion if somebody would like to make it concerning the Oakwood grant. And if someone makes it, I believe you need to incorporate Mr. Holt's suggestion that the county wouldn't be responsible for any overruns. Do I have a
And
motion?
Also Commissioner Claggett's recommendation about changing the title.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it. Yeah. I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the need-based public school capital fund grant and with the stipulations of Mr. Claggett.
Do what?
You may want to indicate the exact amount in there as well. I've got you a suggested motion that, and you would just need to add what the changes that Mr. Clackett had and the suggestion that Mr. Holt made.
I got it. I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the need-based public school capital fund form of agreement for FY 25-26 allocating $18,805,850 to the Caswell County Schools, knowledge that the award requires a 0% county match. Authorize Chairman Yarborough to sign the agreement and further approve that all project cash flow be administered through the county finance department with invoices processed and paid through the county finance office.
And then add what Mr. Clackett and Mr. Holt.
Mine was that there was zero match and that we would not be responsible for cost overruns.
That there will also be a zero match and there is no cost to the county. And actually changing the name to not town manager, but county manager.
All right, you have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Motion from Commissioner Ingram, second by Commissioner Smith. Any more discussion? Not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, let it be known by raising the right hand.
Thank you.
All those opposed, motion carries. Cherokee easement. Mr. Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you may recall, this sewer easement that is in your agenda packet was discussed by the board at your March 16th meeting. And there were several questions and issues that the board had at that time. So I've made several modifications in the easement that you've been presented with. Also reached out to David Ross with Dewberry, who had actually designed the easement that you will see as Exhibit A which is the aerial view and the map of the easement and the subject property. Also made contact with the developer, Shane Bracken, presented this easement to him for his review, and all parties have indicated they are acceptable to the language in the easement. And I'll just highlight a few changes. On the first page of the deed of easement, I specifically outlined that the sewer line will be a 6-inch sewer line within the 20-foot utility easement. And I see the map pulled up on the screen. So the subject property, of course, is adjacent to Highway 700. And the county sewer line runs to the rear of the subject property, which is approximately 12.5 acres. The sewer line is approximately 50 feet from the rear property line of Cherokee Tobacco, but it sits on county property. So in order for Cherokee to access the sewer line, they will have to cross county property to extend their 6-inch sewer line. And the easement is strictly for utility purposes, strictly for the maintenance or the construction and the maintenance of this 6-inch sewer line. And then any repairs that are needed in the future, the county would allow Cherokee to access the sewer line, but for no other purposes other than utilities.
Questions, comments?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir. Like,
Mr. Attorney, what's the difference between an LLC and an incorporated? And the
Well,
reason I ask is I wasn't familiar with this local company, so I did some research here. Some documentation states LLC and some states incorporated. And basically, I'm just concerned about how could this affect the county legally going forward, as the deed of easement and the North Carolina Secretary of State show LLC, and the drawing as presented the proposed temporary easement for state line developers presented this evening shows incorporated. Would that pose a problem down the road?
Commissioner Claggett, I see what you're referring to. In the deed of easement that I drafted, it refers to state line developers as an LLC, a North Carolina limited liability company, as you referred. And you are correct. Under the Secretary of State's website, they are an LLC. I'm not sure why Dewberry labeled state line developers as a corporation. I would surmise that was an error on their part. But what we could do, again, to have everything be efficient and streamlined, if the board chose to move forward in your motion, you could recommend that Dewberry change their exhibit from State Line Developers Incorporated to State Line Developers LLC.
Just dotting i's and crossing t's for future events.
Yes, sir.
questions, comments? Do I have a motion to approve the easement with the change mentioned by Mr. Claggett, where the map would show State Line Developers LLC rather than incorporated? Have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Have a motion from Commissioner Rose,
Second.
second from Commissioner Ingram. Any more discussion? All we're doing is giving them an easement. You said it's about 50 feet, Mr. Johnston.
It's
County property.
a utility easement, 20 feet in width, but it extends from Cherokee's property boundary to the sewer line
Yeah.
across county property and approximately 50 feet. Yes, sir.
So we're,
What effect would this have on the other property? Or is them building something on it?
As far as building, I actually haven't visited the site physically, Commissioner Holt. I'm not sure if this specific area is buildable or what the terrain is, but the easement would certainly, it would prevent any type of construction on that 20-foot utility easement.
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna ruin the other part of the land. It will be ruining the other part of the land.
well, it's 20,
Shortest distance.
is that the shortest point? I'm just curious.
It's my understanding that the easement runs all the way to the City of Danville Services. Is it not?
That's my understanding,
Yeah,
Commissioner
so
Smith. Yes, sir.
whoever buys property in the future, including Piedmont Community College, is going to have to tap into that same sewer line and have its same easement. So it's going to be necessary for anybody to develop in that park to do so.
Any other comments, questions? None, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed,
Okay.
motion carries. All right. Appointments and reappointments to various boards, Senior Center Advisory Committee, the two applications, Teresa Mears and Margaret Crouch, and I hope I didn't slaughter that first name too bad. Do you have a motion to appoint these two individuals?
So move.
Motion from Rose,
Second.
Claggett, second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Updates, Madam Manager.
Yes, I know the farmer's market is getting ready to start back open, and I think that's their open date is April the 23rd, but I know they have it up on a billboard, but I think that's the correct date. So I'd like to invite everyone to come out and visit our farmer's market. I know that we had shared that we were having an opioid event and the success that we had at that on our April 7th, that we had probably, I would say, at least about 500 folks that came through, including some of the staff that was also participating. But we had an awesome turnout for that event. And I appreciate everyone that volunteered, the different departments and staff that were willing to participate and make that a success, and the opioid committee. I know I've been giving you some updates about the PTRC grant with Chloe that we've been working with through PTRC for the Economic Development Grant. She did come out last week, and Mr. Everett and I both went with her to tour to let her see the Civic Center, since we had said that could be a possible option to be included in this grant. And we also took her over to the old jail and even let her go inside to see the conditions of it, and why it's not going to be able to be repurposed, that we pretty much are going to need to demolish that and just do a rebuild there. I don't think there's anything that you would be able to work with from there. So she was taking pictures, gathering data from us, and she said that she felt like that we had a strong grant opportunity here, and that she would be going back and meeting with Hillary Sherman to share as well with her the, everything that she had gathered from her visit. And I've got some more information that I need to provide for her that I had suggested that would help make it, the grant even stronger. So we've got pictures that she'll be using. Even when we had, I suggested the the International Economic Development Group when they came out and their findings. Also that we would like to collaborate any way that we can with the community college, with training opportunities at the Economic Development Hub. And that, of course, makes the grant stronger when you have those community partners. So we will be submitting, which the board gave us permission in May. PTRC will submit that on our behalf, but I know we will be meeting with them some more just to finalize the information that we will be sending to them that they needed. So hopefully these are open enrolling grants. So she said within a few months, would be hearing something back from this opportunity. So just wanted to share that update and that she did come out and visit with us and the facilities that we were trying to incorporate in this grant. I also spoke with Ted Lloyd with Golden Leaf and had some conversation with him about some opportunities through being grant funded for the Pelham Industrial Site. So he said that we would get a date set up soon and he would be glad to come out and talk about some of the grant opportunities that are there for Caswell to help get that site ready. So I do look forward to having those conversations with him and we'll bring that back before the board, what opportunities that we may have there. And we also, I know I had said that I thought it would be a great idea if the Board of Education and the administrative staff could meet with Nathan with DPI, who is with the schools. It could let us understand and further our education on the lottery funds and on the ADM funds, what we can use it for and what we can't use it for. So we finally got everybody's schedules aligned with Board of Education and with our staff. And we plan to have that meeting this week with Nathan. It's going to be a virtual Teams meeting because we thought it would be really good for us to have a foundation before we bring it back to the two boards and both of our staff both be on the same page. So I think that would make it work better and be smoother with the boards if they seen that the administrative staff and finance staff were on the same page for both the county and the Board of Education. And that's the only updates that I have.
Mr. Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At your last meeting, there was discussion in reference to the North Carolina Department of Information Technology and the Brightspeed Amendment regarding rate grant. And there was a question about inserting language in that agreement in which the utility company would need to have a bond in place 1 year after the completion of the construction of the infrastructure. Madam Manager Williamson reached out to the NCDIT with this request and question about this language. They referred this issue to their legal counsel, and as of today, we haven't received a response, and that's why this wasn't on your agenda for tonight. So we'll keep you posted on that. And I continue to work with county staff on public records requests, contracts, and policy updates. And I'll have further updates for you in the closed session.
Thank you. Commissioners, Mr. Holt, Ms. Totten, Mr. Smith.
Yes, Melissa, can you give me an update on where we stand as far as the status of the OSHA fines?
Yes, and feel free to jump in, Attorney Johnson, if you like, but at this point, we are still on the docket for our case to be heard. So we have not heard back from them when that date will be.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. The other thing is, can you give me an update as far as the status of the 25 audits? I know we were talking about moving it maybe to May, but we should still be able to get the auditors to come in time to be completed by end of the fiscal year.
I will speak on it briefly, and then I know that Melissa Miller works closely with Jonna with that as well, and I'll allow her to provide any update. But I do know that we still are trying to push hard for the audit, what we need to get to them in May so we can, have that brought before the board. But I do know that Ms. Sharp did get further behind on that because we have had her so heavily involved in helping us with the budget process and getting those positions reconciled. That took a lot of work that she did there. So she did say that she plans to turn back to the audit and work more. And so we are trying to work some more with Amy Cannon with the budget so we don't consume so much of Jonna's time so she can return back to the audit. Ms. Miller, is there anything? Oh, she just stepped out. Anything, Keith? Okay.
Okay. All right. And the final thing is there's been a lot of discussion about tap fees in Pelham. Are we working on a tap fee?
We are. I was going to bring that up kind of in closed session, but I don't mind touching on it in here. Myself and Jason Watleyton, R.D. Hayes, and Kenneth Everett all met with Joshua Johnson, with Allie Williams and Cameron and King Incorporated about a week or so ago. And I know we showed him our current water, sewer, and tap plan, which I think it's been since 2010, since that was updated. And I know our fees do not reflect where we should be. So he is in the process of going back to pull a proposal together for us to see what the cost would be to make these upgrades. And I asked him, would he come before the Board of Commissioners to present that and what, the proposal and what it would entail. And he said that he would be willing to do that. So we're just waiting for him to get back with us.
Mr. Rose,
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Ingram, Mr. Claggett. Couple of things. The first 2 years, I think that Mr. Holt, Mr. Rose, myself were on the board. DOT used to come before the board and give us kind of an update as to what they had planned for the county. I hadn't seen them in 12, 15 months, I know. So if they could, district engineer, somebody could just come out and kind of give us an update, it would be appreciated.
Okay, I'll reach out to them.
All right. Other thing, do the signs that are when you come into the county on various highways, says welcome to Castle County. Did county install those, DOT install those?
Mr. Everett, do you know? DOT.
Because I know the one on 119 coming out of Virginia is about halfway obscured with tree branches. And the 186 at Prospect Hill has been mauled by a couple of mowers, I think. It looks pretty tough. So
Okay.
if
When
we
I
could
reach
get-
out to see if they can send a representative out, I'll also see if we can address that as well, those signs.
It doesn't, when it says welcome to Castle County and the signs turned every which way and bent up, it doesn't reflect all that well on Castle County. So we could just get somebody to check on that. I'd appreciate it.
All right.
Okay. Upcoming events, 21st Board of Adjustment meeting, also the 21st Library Board meeting, 28th Planning Board meeting, and our next meeting will be Monday, May the 4th, right here. Closed session to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege as provided under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 subsection A3, and consider the qualifications or conditions of appointment of an individual public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee as provided under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 subsection A6. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Rose,
Second.
second from Commissioner Claggett. All those in favor, let me know by saying aye. All those opposed, we now set in closed session.